When Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the redone IDPO complex, he also gave it a new name, Bharat Mandapam. Bharat Mandapam, he said, reflects the aspirations of a growing India, and he said that this complex will also go beyond its G20 utility. For instance, it is hosting the most important event of the year, the meeting of international leaders on September 9th and September 10th, which will also mark the culmination of India's G20 presidency. But apart from that, it also has exhibition halls to showcase the best of what our artists have to offer. We are going to get inside the complex today and tell you how this IDPO complex or Bharat Mandapam is getting ready to host the most important meeting of this year. So you're finally at level 1 of the Bharat Mandapam, where there are many small rooms where bilaterals of the G20 presidency will take place. Remember, important decisions always come out of smaller rooms. So we saw the big G20 summit room, and this is where the smaller rooms are there. And this is where international delegates will have meetings to discuss their issues. Remember, India has been trying very hard to talk about issues faced by developing countries, including trade, carbon emissions, and use of renewable form of energy, and also trying hard to address the gap between the developed countries and the global south. We are on level 2 of the Bharat Mandapam, and this is the perfect place to tell you why this place got to be renamed as Bharat Mandapam, because this place has a lot of conspicuous art forms that are from different parts of the country. For example, the miniature art right behind me shows the arrival of spring with peacocks, and all across the complex the depiction of peacock is very beautiful because and it's been depicted in different ways. Peacock is also the national bird of the country, so there are paintings that depict the arrival of spring, there are peacocks dancing, there are also other art forms that talk about the beauty of village life. All of this has been specifically curated for an international audience to tell them what the country has to offer, and there has been a lot of showcasing of Indian craftsmanship. For instance, the printed carpets have come from Hyderabad, the other carpets have come from Bhadohi in Uttar Pradesh, and some have also come from Kashmir. And the cuisine is also going to be curated and crafted really well. ITC is going to be cooking food for the international delegates. Remember, this is level L2, which will basically host the most important meeting of G20 presidency. This also has a lot of premium lounges for the leaders, and that is the leaders lounge, and I'm going there next. And L2 layer is where the most important G20 delegates are going to be, and there is the G20 summit room, of course, but other than that, this is where there is also going to be a VIP room, delegation, and rooms for dining and rooms for premium meetings between the leaders that could take place. There's also a specific VIP entrance for the leaders, and right behind me is this wall that basically shows Indian art depicting 32 most essential yoga postures. Remember, yoga is also something very close to the Prime Minister's heart. He has been talking about it, and he also made it a point to celebrate the Yoga Day in the US in New York this time. And this is from Giranda Samhita, which is a 17th century scripture, and across this L2 layer of this building you can actually see a lot of Indian art forms, because this is where a lot of foreign delegates will be spending a lot of time, because this is where the most important meeting of India's G20 presidency will also take place. Nine months ago, when India assumed the G20 presidency from Indonesia, it wasn't an easy time for the world because it was just coming out of a COVID crisis. There was fuel crisis, there was food crisis, and there was also an international conflict. But Over the last 9 months, India has held over 150 meetings in 66 locations of the country, showcasing the best that the country has to offer. All of this culminates into this big leaders summit of G20 on September 9th, and that meeting of international leaders, including Joe Biden and Rishi Sunak, will take place in this room. That is why the decor of this room has been kept simple, it's been kept standard, but a lot of work and thought has gone into sound and lighting of this room. This is where the top leaders of the world will meet and discuss. There are, of course, deliberations that will happen across this complex in several bilateral meeting rooms that have also been set up. But the main meeting of G20 of various heads of states is going to happen in this room. So this is the multi-purpose hall of the Bharat Mandapam, from where the Prime Minister actually inaugurated the redone IDPO complex from. He was speaking right here, the stage was here, and this hall is actually a highlight of this complex because it has a seating capacity of 7,000 people. The Prime Minister also talked about how there was a need for a big convention hall like this for many years, but governments in the past never actually invested in one, and this hall could actually become very important part of India's journey to becoming an important conference destination in the world. This is what the PM also said. Right in front of me, you see the walls which will collapse and which will also extend the capacity of this multi-purpose hall, and that is when the capacity of the hall becomes more than 7,000. Otherwise, it is around 5,000 people. Now, this hall, I'm told, will also be used to showcase a lot of cultural programs and the diversity of the country. Remember, diversity is one of the themes of India's G20 presidency. India has been hosting events across the country to show how diverse it is and to also give the international delegates a glimpse of what India's unity looks like. So this is the hall which will also host a lot of cultural programs. We have with us Tariq Siddiqui, one of the architects with ARCOP that has been responsible for the architecture and urban planning of this space. Thank you, Mr. Siddiqui, for speaking to us. Tell us the significance of the Indian art that has been used in this structure.
First of all, see, the name that Prime Minister has given, Bharat Mandapam, it's a nice name. And why this is Bharat Mandapam? Because everything, it is like a Make in India initiative of Prime Minister that is like literally followed here. Everything is, from India. So if you talk about arts, so from entire country, the artisans were involved from all over the India. Various, awarded artists, so they have worked on artwork, based on our concept and theme. Then you talk about the horse out, it's basically a Surya Shakti. Surya Shakti everybody knows. So, and this is like a arrival, this is the pre-function arrival. So Surya Shakti is basically welcoming them. So coming in this hall, this multi-purpose hall, that's 7,000 capacity, 4,000 plus 3,000 this plenary. In an open situation, it's a 7,000 capacity. So if you see all this stone work, all inlay work, this is all India. You see the woodwork, complete teak and the kind of design, floral design, peacock design. Peacock is like almost like a theme of the project. So peacock is national bird. And then a lot of flower that we have followed. So see the motifs are flowers. So everything, whatever you see, it is all India. So it's a Bharat Mandapam.
Right behind me, you have the Ashwamedh symbol, the horses that are on the chariot of sun god. So that is there, and there are also elements from yoga and from other Indian epics which are all over the place. So there is a very explicit, evident emphasis on Indian folk arts and Indian mythology that's very evident here. From here, we actually go to the topmost level of this place, from where we see the window to Delhi, and from where we actually see different monuments including India Gate and Purana Kila. That is the topmost layer of this place. So one of the top highlights of the revamped IDPO complex, now renamed as Bharat Mandapam, is these exhibition halls, which also will host artisans from the entire country. And this is the commercial aspect of IDPO also, which has been hosting trade fairs since 1952. And this part of the ITPO complex is called Window to Delhi. Remember, delegates from 20 countries are going to be visiting Delhi and will be part of many bilateral meetings that will take place in this ITPO complex. And to show them what Delhi is all about, they will be brought to this part of the monument, which is the Window to Delhi. And right behind me, I can see the Supreme Court. And if the camera can zoom in, we can also see the India Gate here. India Gate, one of the top landmarks of Delhi that every Delhiite knows and is very familiar with. You can also see the canopy of the India Gate from here, and from the other side you can also see the Purana Killa. So this is the topmost part or level 4 of the revamped ITPO complex, from which you can see a glimpse of Delhi. This ITPO complex also is situated at a very strategic point at Pragati Maidan. So this will also offer a glimpse of the capital to all the international delegates. With camera person Azam Siddiqui, this is Vasudha Venugopal for NDTV.